My constituents are very angry about these bailouts, and they want to know why a $100 billion line of credit was given to Freddie and Fannie, and that Freddie has drawn down $15 billion of that $100 billion line of credit. We were looking at what happened. They want to understand what happened. So in preparing, we interviewed your former Chief Risk Officer, Mr. David Andrikonis, from 2003 to 2005. He said he held that position and reported directly to you. He told us that during these years, mortgage lenders were making increasing demands for Alt-A loans, loans that had no documentation. He found them risky. I know that in New York, many people said it was easier to get a loan with no documentation than to pay your rent during these days. And he said, and I quote, Wall Street became, I think, pretty adept at packaging securities of loans that we would have considered to be higher risk, that is, reduced or very little documentation, end quote. According to him, big mortgage lenders like Countrywide and Lehman put a lot of pressure on Freddie Mac to buy these risky no-doc Alt-A loans. And he said these lenders were constantly looking to reduce documentation because it was easier to produce the loans, then sell them, and the toxic are now what we're confronting. He said that he reached out to you. He said that he was opposed to these no documentation loans, that he talked to you directly, that he sent you memo after memo outlining to you and the board and others that this was risky and not the right way to go. And I'd like to put these memos in the record along with the interview that was conducted with him and our staff. And so I'd like to ask Mr. Siren, is it true that your chief risk officer advised you not to buy these reduced documentation Alt-A no-doc loans?
Well, first of all, I don't believe I've seen those memos that were addressed to me, but I'm not sure. But
we'll be glad to give them to you.
Okay.
You mean he never told you? Did he advise you to buy those loans?
No.
And then he's perjured himself. Did he tell you to buy the Alt-A loans?
No, ma'am.
He did not. Did he advise you that they might be risky?
Yes, ma'am. But if you look,
well, let me say that. Furthermore, I only have 4 minutes. Furthermore, I'd like to say that he was right, because under your leadership, Freddie Mac bought more than $150 billion of no-doc Alt-A loans, and according to your most recent SEC report, your company's Alt-A purchases have resulted in more than $8 billion this year in credit losses alone due to these risk products that your chief risk officer said do not buy. Now, what happened to Mr. David Andrikonis? He was fired. He was fired. He felt that you agreed with him, but that you still continued to buy what everyone was saying was high risk. It's common sense. If you give a loan to someone and they don't even show you that they have a job, you're in trouble. My question to you now, and my basic question to you, in light of all of the money that Freddie has lost and the taxpayer money that has supporting you, and you've spent $15 billion of it, given the fact that you lost so much money on these Alt-A risky documents, wouldn't it have been better not to fire your risk manager, but to fire your portfolio manager of your Alt-A loans? Do you regret firing a risk manager who told you that you were moving in the wrong direction, that it was risky and toxic and not what you should be doing? Do you regret firing him? Do you regret buying these risky loans? Do you regret the way you led, and I would say mismanaged, your company?
Well, ma'am, if you go back and look at the records in the MAC, and I think you said 2000, but it's about right.
2003 to 2005.
Yeah, that's right. There was I'm not sure the exact time, but there was a long debate with people on both sides of what should be done with Alt-A. This was done in the debate was in the context of an environment in which Freddie Mac's market share was declining, and the question of our relevance and ability to